Hello, I'm Josh Wilkinson and welcome to Chattin, presented by Made.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm great, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, I'm good. I'm excited to have a chat with you today. But for the people watching, introduce yourself and the role that you do in the organisation you work for.
Of course. So, hello everyone. My name is Tiffany Bowman. I'm 26 years old, originally from Manchester, born and bred. And my current role is the Creative Development Assistant at Home. And for anyone that doesn't know what Home is, it's a venue in Manchester, and we offer all sorts from theatre to film to art. And I've been working here since mid-March, so not very long, but I'm enjoying it at the moment.
Remind me of your title again at home. It's
Creative Development Assistant, yes.
Creative Development Assistant. So, I guess tell us a little bit more about exactly what that is. But before you do, how did you sort of get to becoming the Creative Development Assistant at Home?
Yeah, so it's been quite a journey. So yeah, just a little bit about my background, how I've got to that role. So as a young person, I looked for opportunities wherever I could find them. Tried a bit of everything as well to see what appealed to me most. Probably like most young people, you don't just like suddenly have a brainwave of what sort of job you want to do. It's usually based on what your interests are and your skills, and you kind of eventually work out like what kind of roles fit into that. So I tried everything to work out what I wanted to do. When I left school, I joined the Royal Exchange Young Company. I was in the Young Writers Group for a good couple of years. But whilst I was there, I also tried other skills as well, like performing, marketing, fundraising. And I think it's really important when you're sort of starting out as like a young person that you don't limit yourself. Like there might be something you're really interested in, but don't just think, oh, okay, well that's it, like that's what I want to do. Like you really explore like all the different avenues. So I did that when I was young, and then I went to uni, did some note taking for a student who needed extra support, became a marketing assistant at an art school. And then when I finished my course, I did an internship with the uni, and I got to do some project management and create a student festival as well, which was an amazing experience. And then that led to another role at the university as a school coordinator, where I just like encourage young people to consider taking like an arts and humanities subject at university to raise aspirations. And then I joined Z Arts, which is a children's art venue in Hume. And they do amazing work, and I worked there across programming, marketing, access, as well as loads of other areas to support Z Arts. And I gained so many skills from that job, and I was always willing to step up and do what was needed. And I think that was probably like a key moment in my career. I was working at Z Arts, and it really helped me to get this new role at Home. So that's just a bit of a very quick, brief background of how I got
Gosh,
from point A to point Z.
There's a lot packed into that, isn't there? And I mean,
And there's a lot more beyond that as well, like little bits that but that's just a short snapshot of how I got from there to here.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I guess there's quite a variety of different things you mentioned even within that. But was it for you? Have you always had an interest in working in like the creative industry? Did you just fall into it? And I suppose, how did you seek those different opportunities that you seem to have been a part of outside of education? It sounds like you've sort of jumped on other things that you could just, it sounds to me like you've gone for all these different avenues as well to just sort of broaden and explore some of the different options in the creative industry. I mean, that sounds like to me, is that true? And how I suppose do you map something like that out?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a lot of it is just kind of opportunity, the people you meet, a lot of networking, connecting, and it's just looking for them opportunities and knowing where to look for them opportunities as well. A lot of young people don't know where to look for opportunities like that. So like I had a really good connection with the Royal Exchange when I was younger, so I'd get recommendations, and it's just about like connecting with other young people that are working in theatres or on other youth programs. and just sort of like trying to find them opportunities really. And like I can't emphasize enough, I think like connection, especially in like the arts world, is so important. It's a lot of who you know, which could be a bit of a barrier for some people as well. It can be quite fortunate for some people, and I know like home especially is trying to kind of break that really, because we don't want to be like a gatekeeper. But I'd definitely say like having connections with people really helped, looking for them opportunities, and like see, like if you see an opportunity as well and you don't think you match the skill set, or like you don't have the experience yet, it's like not being afraid. Something I did during lockdown was I reached out to people that were in the roles that I was kind of interested in but didn't have the experience in, and just asked to chat with them on Zoom. Like just be really forward and just ask people as well to have them conversations. And I think that's really helpful as well, because you're getting a sort of human perspective on what it's like to work in that role or that industry as well.
How did you reach out to those as well? Would you just find their email on the website of the organization, or was it
a bit of stalking, to be honest. Bit of stalking, yeah. Some people, I mean, social media is a really great way of connecting with people, sending a message. Some people have their emails available on Google, so you might as well use it and contact them. And like if you have connections with people already, or you just happen to know someone, like connect with them on LinkedIn. It's just making the most of them relationships, and don't be like shy as well. Like people could say no if they don't want to talk to you, and that's the worst that can happen. So that's my philosophy. Like, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get. So
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that, like, it's that whole thing of if you don't ask, you don't get, isn't it? But also, I suppose it's quite humbling, isn't it, to be asked for some advice, or someone like, oh, I really like what you do. How did you get there? And I suppose that's why we have these conversations with Chattin as well. And I know that that's why working with Made is perfect for these set of episodes, because it's almost like being able to sit and listen to yourself as well, and look how you reached the role that you're in now, and sort of your stepping stones to that. It's kind of like we're eavesdropping into a conversation that we might not get a chance to listen in on. But yeah, I think that's really interesting actually, in reaching out to people. And I think what I found from speaking to people in similar positions to you, where they've joined somewhere like the Royal Exchange Young Company or Contact Theatre's Young Company, or other, I suppose, they start off with youth groups, space groups with these organizations, but then they have staff and connections that you get to know, and then you get to share those. Like that organization's network almost becomes yours to share as well. And then you jump onto other positions. I think that's brilliant actually, because I suppose it takes that big leap to attend and join somewhere like that, because often it's voluntary at the beginning. You don't get paid to maybe attend these things, but it's the stuff that you're learning and picking up that's valuable. So that's a really good bit of advice actually, that I think. But I guess, like you say, you could talk for hours, I guess, about those stepping stones. But I think it's really clear how you seem to have done it with what you've explained. But also, I wanted to kind of see, with those different roles, was there multiple different things you learned from each experience? I mean, I imagine there was, but did each experience navigate you to the role that you're doing now, or were they all completely individual every time?
A bit of both really. Like when I'm describing it, it does kind of come across that like, oh yeah, everything just kind of ebbed and flowed into one another. And in some cases it did. Like the university roles that came up were just that I did the internship, made a good impression, worked really hard, and then it was a maternity cover, and they were like, "Oh, Tiff, would you like to do this role?" So I think it's like when you do get the an opportunity, even if it's just work experience, or like you're like volunteering, and like just really put like your all into it, like show up eager, show up passionate, like wanting to not just do the job as well, don't just follow the job description, like, you know, go beyond, like show interest, and like when you create that good impression, then you know you're remembered in that person's mind, and then they'll think of you when something else comes up. They'll be like, oh yeah, Tiffany was really interested in like writing, oh this opportunity is coming up, like we should definitely like, you know, recommend her for it. So I mean, I can't stress enough, like making a good impression with people as well, and like just really throwing yourself into something. But I totally take on board as well, like you're saying, like when you're starting off as well as a young person, it's that gap between like like getting involved with some, like for example the young company. It's taking that leap because you might see that, like you might see that come up and be like, that's not for me, like that's I don't fit within that. And I was a bit like that as well when I was in the young writers. The first few sessions I was so intimidated and thought, I don't belong in this space, like from a working class background, so I don't belong here. And it takes that kind of like maybe someone in your social circle. I'm very fortunate, I've got a very encouraging family, like just sort of giving you the confidence to like go for it, which is why we need like more people that work in the arts kind of advocating for like and encouraging young people to take that first leap, so that then you can sort of follow them steps and then progress as well. But it's a mixture really for me. Some of it kind of did follow on from another, but a lot of it was just me kind of knocking on a lot of doors and doing a lot of job applications, doing a lot of unpaid work, and to just get the skills and experience. So a bit of a mixture.
Yeah, a bit of a mixture. I think that seems to be the case for everyone we've spoken to actually with this little mini series. Like everybody really spins different plates, and you try and then look at which one's still spinning that you want to kick off with, I guess. And with that then, so your role at home now, the creative development assistant, what does that entail? What do you do day to day?
Oh, okay, yes. So the thing I'm really enjoying about this role is that no day is ever the same, which when you think of like an admin kind of role, it's quite unusual. But like I feel because of the team I work in, because I work in creative development, which is like an engagement team. They do lots of work with young people, community groups, that kind of thing. Because I work in that team, there's always lots of exciting projects going on, so I never feel bored, which is great. But I'd say like my role is quite key as well, making sure that all the projects run smoothly. I'm kind of the one behind the scenes creating contracts, processing invoices, booking rooms, responding to requests. And I'd say like on a day-to-day basis, I'm performing admin tasks that support the team, help them deliver high quality projects, kind of, being the supportive presence behind the scenes really, and also like strengthening relationships with other art venues that we work with, schools, colleges, universities, and particularly me, at the moment, I'm working quite a lot with local community groups by offering them £1 tickets through our Inspire scheme. And that's been set up to encourage people that wouldn't normally come to the fair, that might face certain barriers, just to offer them a £1 ticket, so it's a bit easier to come and see our shows as well. So yeah, that's a bit of a snapshot of what I do at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like it keeps you on your toes and busy.
Yeah, definitely.
What's really lovely though is, I mean, even being the person that can work with those community groups and give tickets out and engage people. And I suppose, for me, I was never someone that would go and watch a piece of theatre. I'd see pantomimes and stuff, but I wouldn't necessarily go to see a piece of theatre or, certain things that I suppose you count as like cultural engagement. And it's really interesting to then, just out of the blue, because you're attached to a local community centre, like get a call that says, "Oh, do you want to come and watch a show together?" And you're like, "Oh, all right, I've been in that position before." And it's really good to do as a group. And I think that actually that is, they're the people that we want in venues like home and stuff, because they're the people that keep the communities and cities going. And it must be great to be able to work within your role at home and sort of distribute that sort of fun. I see it as being fun. Some people,
it's so much fun. No, I love it. It's so rewarding. Like, it's such a nice thing, because it's like schemes like that helped me as well when I was like first entering the world of theatre. Like we had at the Royal Exchange, I was on a scheme called Arts Pot, which helped me like go and see shows. And like I really appreciate the value of it, and it can just be like the first way of getting, like you say, them people into our venue, and then just opening up their world and like experiencing the magic of theatre. And so yeah, it's incredible and amazing, and I'm really pleased that that's something that I can offer.
Yeah, as well as I suppose you balancing the admin stuff. It makes
Oh yeah, of course.
Makes the admin and the days of logging and stuff like worth it. But sometimes people enjoy that. I don't know, I'm a nice admin day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. No, you have good days, you have bad days. But yeah, I think if you're the sort of type of person that likes to be organized, likes to work behind the scenes, and kind of takes real joy in kind of working on things, kind of like, for example, on a project at the start, when you're kind of doing them sort of little fine-tuning things of like contracts and just like, yeah, it feels quite powerful. Like you're really sort of contributing towards something that's going to be really impactful and valuable. So
yeah,
it does have its advantages for sure. Like definitely.
I think, and I suppose it's a large team at home as well, isn't it? You're part of quite a well-oiled machine in that there's lots of people that work at home and keep it ticking for all of its avenues that it has and it offers. So I bet that's a lovely thing to have, working within a large group. But also
it's massive. It is a huge team. It is, but everyone's so lovely, and like you can tell as well when you're talking to people that even though it's a huge team, and sometimes when you work in a bigger team, like things can kind of get like lost in translation, and like it's a lot harder to communicate across a big team, but you can tell at home that everyone's like there for like the same reason. Like everyone's passionate about theatre, film, art. They want to engage young people, community groups. Like it's embedded. Like everyone that works there really feels that way, which is really heartening and really good to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely. I think it gives a good example of both the organisation and the role that you do, and I think it's a role that I imagine is a great learning curve as well. I mean, we all learn, don't we, in every role that we take on, and build, like you say, on some of those earlier stepping stones. You build those connections. I mean, I'm sure you're building a lot of connections now with this role, and also picking up quite a lot of stuff, which then I suppose allows you to also look to your future and what you're doing next. But would you say that you've picked up quite a lot since doing this role already?
Definitely. I mean, I've only been here since March, but already I feel like just like even the opportunities that have been sort of signposted to me in terms of my own sort of professional development is really exciting for me, because I am still in the early stages of my career, and I am thinking about long-term like sort of goals, and it's really nice to be in an organization where like that is something that they really do care about. You've got to do your day-to-day work, but they also really care about your personal development and your growth, so that's very exciting for me.
Yeah, that's good. No, I mean, that's the best of both worlds then, isn't it, really?
Exactly.
With that then, and I suppose we've talked a little bit already about advice, but one of my questions I've been asking people is if you were at like a sort of school assembly, or you were at a talks day for careers week or something, and you were telling a group of young people about your role or about your career that you've had so far, and your role that you do now at home, what bit of advice would you give generally to that group? It's a big question, but
that is a big question. Yes, I feel like sometimes I need advice as well.
Yeah.
No, but if I was giving young people advice, okay, so here's top tips. First of all, I'd say, so for my role, if you're thinking about my role, key skills, good communication, and this is kind of important for most roles, to be fair, but like in terms of my role, like good communication is great skill to have. In my role, you get lots of messages and requests that are going to come through to you, and it's my job to make sure everyone has the right information, and so good communication is definitely up there. Practice prioritizing tasks. You get quite a lot of projects that come your way, and it's often on you to manage your own workload, so like practicing being able to prioritize things is a good skill as well. I use quite a lot of spreadsheets, and as someone that's not like maths. I'm not a maths whiz at all. Maths was never my favorite subject at school, and yeah, I do a lot of data now, which is very strange.
There you
But
go.
even though I'm not a whiz, like I can still use spreadsheets. And formulas are your friend. So yeah, just familiarize yourself with Excel, pay attention in ICT. You never know when it might come up. And just being able to take notes quickly as well. I've found is very useful. Even if you go into a job where you're not taking, like you're not a note taker, like just for yourself, it's very handy. And maintaining positive relationships as well, I think is key. Kind of what I said before, them connections are really important, and it's going to help you whatever job you end up in, and it will follow you as well. It'll follow you as well, and you'll come up across the same people. So having them, strong relationships with people is really, really helpful. So yeah, they're my top tips, specifically for my role.
I would give a round of applause for Tiff's top tips. They were fantastic. Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you.
You say that for your role, but I think it really does as well speak to other positions in the creative industry. I mean, like we say, we're looking at creative roles that maybe, there's so many creative roles. I think some people see it as maybe, oh, well, you're an actor or you're a musician or you're this, but all those different things that keep it going, especially like community work and stuff, you need people to make sure that they're, on that every day, building connections, maintaining relationships, but also, as you say, like that development of young artists, people wanting to get involved, and, really identifying that it is accessible, but there are also barriers, which we spoke about, and how arts organizations with the resources that they have can use the resources they have to introduce more people into it and make sure that these spaces are being used by everyone. And I think that it just shows how important your role is and how the team at home is, and then generally the larger cultural sector. And it's really interesting to think, like, in it, when you sat doing ICT or you're doing like you're doing your literacy, it's like you kind of get in your head when you're doing that, you're thinking, well, I'm not going to be a mathematician. I'm not going to go into some sort of or like engineering. I don't need to know about these numbers and stuff necessarily.
Yeah.
They're not the only jobs that you'll go into and use those skills.
Exactly. I resonate with that so much. I remember having the exact same thoughts in my head when I was doing stuff like ICT at school, and you're just thinking, and like fractions and like just, all that stuff where you just can't see how it relates to like what you're going to do in the future. And then you come across it and you're like, oh yeah, I used to do that. Like, yeah, I need to use that.
Yeah, I think we get away with not using algebra though, don't we? I think I do anyway.
I feel like it's going to pop up. It's going to like just come upon me suddenly at some point. I'm going to be like, oh no, I need to use it again.
Yeah, one day. We'll keep it in our back pocket for now then. But yeah, no, really good advice. I think that's really key. And also, I think it's important as well to speak to someone like yourself that, as you said before, is the early start of the career, going into mid-career, and it's more, it's closer to we remember a time where I'm in a similar position to you, it's like we remember sitting in those classes and it being sort of not that long ago, and still looking for opportunities to better ourselves as we go on, I suppose, in the career.
Yeah, of course.
What's it looking like now at home, and generally, is there any exciting projects you're working on right now, or anything?
Oh, there's so much coming up at home, which makes me so excited to be working here. There is one project I'm particularly very excited about, which is our youth theatre project, which is coming up in the summer. So what we're going to do is we're going to get 5 young writers from Manchester, and they're going to create a brand new play for our youth theatre, and then it's going to be performed in our studio theatre in August. Okay. So I'm really excited about that, because it means that, for me personally, I get to work with upcoming Manchester talent, and I'm just excited to see what ideas they come up with.
That's amazing. That's a great opportunity, isn't it, to be able to just have that time to be creative, but then also get the opportunity to share it at a venue that's as big as home. Yeah,
exactly. It's such an amazing opportunity for young people. So I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for that. I'll be definitely sat there with a ticket. I would just, generally, it's been fantastic talking to you and finding out the ins and outs of the role that you have now, but also the way that you got there. And I'm sure you've got so much more to talk about, but it's just been great. And I'm grateful to have you for this 15-20 minutes that we've had.
You're so welcome.